going to begin an advanced video here that creates a crossover ring using UV curves to place the latticework design up onto the top of the ring and then to add the gems to that design. So let's begin by placing a copy of the ring in the viewport so we can see what the image looks like using the View menu command, Picture Frame. Okay, once you've found that image, hit open, and the next thing will be to click Shift and drag the bottom edge of that photo along. Okay, and then you'll be able to center this and scale it to the size of the actual ring so you get some idea of the size this should be. So let's begin with the finger size, the finger rail, and then we can center this on the finger rail about 2 millimeters past the edges of it. That's actually not so bad. Okay, or if you prefer, you can just click and drag this off. The picture frame is a great tool to use because you can just pick up the surface and drag it around. The only thing is I like to put it on a layer color I don't use a lot, such as lights, and then lock that layer. And that way I can't accidentally select it. Okay. To begin creating this, let's draw the taper for this ring in the side view. To start, I'm going to just place the curve tool line with the both sides option here right at the inside of that finger rail. And as I hold down Shift, I'm going to drag this out to the width that I want at the bottom of the ring. I want it a little wider actually, so right click, both sides, click and drag that out. Okay. The next thing is going to be to create this taper with the line tool. Just click into the end right here and extend it pretty far up past the top of this to the width you want for the ring. F4, Shift. Okay. I just mirrored that to the other side using F4. Okay. The next thing will be to place the outside finger rail here. With the outside rail tool, just hit start and you'll get all the handles for that. We're actually going to just create the side of the ring using this. So we're going to draw this up to 150, this down to 1.3, and this is the bottom up to 1 millimeter. Holding down Shift, you can get those right on. Okay, press Enter to keep that. And using curve from two views, we're going to be able to place the outside and inside finger rail on an angle with these two curves. Before we do that, as you know, these curves have to extend down past the end of this rail, which they don't yet. So we're going to run the extend command. That lives right here in the curve menu. Just press enter for dynamic extend. We're going to extend this guy and this guy. Okay, and what happened there is Rhino history is turned on, so when you extend one curve that has been mirrored, its mirrored copy also does the extend. So we can turn that off. It sometimes messes with matrix history. Okay, and let's drop back this. Alright, curve from two views is going to give us two curves that match the angle of the green lines there. So let's run curve from two views with history with the inside finger rail and one line. Repeat the inside finger rail and the other line. Repeat the curve from two views with the outside rail and the line. And one more time with the outside rail and the line. And there you go. Okay, we're going to look at creating the profiles for this. Now, I like to hang on to the original curves, so select these, run the duplicate in place option, and with one copy still selected, place those in another layer color and turn them off. That way you've got a copy saved. We're going to take the originals here and split them with the two sets of curves that touch them. Okay, we can get rid of everything we don't need. Delete that, and what we're left with are curves that touch precisely. We're going to be just surface modeling this little ring. It's a pretty simple ring, but we want to make sure everything lines up. We're going to show you how to do that. Okay, so right now these profiles touch these rails perfectly. Okay, With the line tool again, we're going to draw a profile that extends between these two and touches them end to end. So we've got a matching at the top and the bottom. And we'll go ahead and job bag this. And now with our arc direction tool, we're going to create the bend in this ring. So grab the arc direction and touching the end and the end, we're just going to draw this as high as we want for the profile on the ring. So about 2 millimeters there. Same thing at the top. Between the end, we should have an end in there. Between the end and the end. And just draw that up as high as you want. And in this way we can create a different curvature at the bottom as at the top. We want this to really poof up more at the top. In fact, we could even do that a little bit more and really get that thing tall and puffy at the top. Okay, job bag this. Okay, and notice that we didn't join these profiles together. We're all ready to sweep them in 4 separate sweep 2 operations. This is exactly what multi-rail sweep does, only we're going to control it so that we get 4 separate surfaces in the end. So sweep 2 between the 2 rails and the profiles that touch them. Okay. Oops. Oh, we can mirror the whole thing afterwards anyway. Sweep 2 between the 2 rails and the profiles. Oops. Sweep 2 between the 2 rails and the profiles that touch them. Mirror this guy. F4, shift. Sweep 2 one last time between the 2, the 2 rails. Sweep 2 between the 2 rails and the profiles that touch them. Okay, you can see the really nice shape of that. And we can take all these surfaces, join them up, and mirror them to the other side of the ring. F4, shift, and join everything together. And it should create for you a closed solid poly surface if you join the inside. I forgot to mirror and join the inside. Join. Your closed solid poly surface. Okay, get used to that. We're going to be checking for that a lot during this tutorial. It's a pretty tricky one. Okay, remember how I said I like to keep those curves around? Let's bring them back right now. They're right here. And we'll offset them to create a shape for the inset surface that all this stuff is going to go onto. Okay, so let's offset these one at a time here. If you're not sure exactly how far you want them, just use the through-point option. And when it looks good, click. Okay, you can either mirror this or just offset the other one. We'll mirror it. And we'll put them on another layer color so you can see them really well. Cutting layer. Okay, and also determine how far down the ring you want that little surface to end. And with the line tool, and making sure project is turned on because we're going to draw this straight flat in the viewport. Just draw about the shape for that. Notice how it comes to a V here on the side. Trust me, it comes to a V on the side. And go ahead and mirror this one. F4, shift. Now we can take all the orange colors, hit trim, and just get rid of the parts we don't need from this shape. And we're going to leave it extending past the top of the ring. Press enter and join everything up. Okay, now let's project this onto the ring. Here's the project command. Make sure you're doing this in the side view where it already looks like it's on the surface visually. Select the curves to project, press enter. Select the poly surface to project onto, and that's our ring. And in fact, let's just hold up there. Before we do that, let's go ahead and extract the surface of the ring. That way it only projects onto what we want it to. So we'll use extract surface and extract surfaces. Enter, join, and we'll only project it onto this one outside surface. Okay, so in the side view, we're going to run project, grab our orange curve, press enter. The surface to project it onto is this green. Press enter, and there we go. You can see that it projects around the entire surface. Okay. We're now going to split the green surface with the orange curve. One surface has been split into two pieces, and there's one piece and there's the other. So let's take that first piece, put it on a new layer color here so we can get a good look at it. Now we're going to scale this down in order to create the inset surface. So let's select just this surface here, run the transform command, scale 2D, and then looking down from F4, we're just going to click shift and scale this down a little ways. Notice that it's scaling it smaller on the top and the sides, which is good, but at the very top of the ring is still all the way up where the very top of the surface is still all the way up at the top of the ring. So we use 1D scale from the endo snap up and just scale that down, making sure you're holding down shift so it doesn't make things go out of whack here. Then just depending on how you want this to look, you can finagle it a little more. We're just creating an inset that all this stuff is going to be put onto. So all this stuff is going to be just about planar with the top of that ring. So you're not going to see this really weird shape on the side. Of course, you don't see it here. We're just making a surface to flow this whole design and to lay this gems out on. So you don't have to really worry about that so much. So let's leave it all uniform there. Let's job bag this. And to create this as a solid model so that we don't get all lazy here, we're just going to close it up with the loft tool. So with yet another layer color, go to the loft command and just work your way around the edges that line up. Okay, and we'll go around this whole ring, lofting between these edges. Oops, not that edge, this edge. Okay, and I'm just going to pause the video while I do this because it's boring. Oh, that was so boring. I almost put myself to sleep. Okay, so just notice that all the edges are lofted. They're little surfaces. Just don't get lazy and mirror these. Just make sure you build them all because you want this model to be solid in the end. So let's grab all these, and all these. Does anyone else have trouble telling between those two shades of green? And join. Okay, we're definitely missing a green. Join. And check it out, and it's closed. That's good to know. And we'll job bag this. Okay. However, this is not the surface that we're going to flow this design up onto because we need an untrimmed surface for those little UV curve commands, and this one has